Hello everyone. Today I want to share about chapter 13 to 14. Okay, let's see what happened in chapter 13 and 14. Okay, this is the picture. Um, and Abram and Lot. They are prosperous, though they left their homeland. And so Abram's men and Lot's men are very many. So the space was not enough to stay. All of them stayed together. That's why they had a quarter. Abram did not want to fight each other. So he suggested that, Lord, you choose the way. If you choose the left, I will choose the right. And if you choose the right, I will choose the left. It's like this. So let's read this part. It's not the whole land before you. Separate yourself from me. If you take the left hand, then I will go to the right. And if you take the right hand, I will go to the left. And Lot lifted up his eyes and saw that Jordan Valley was well watered everywhere, like the garden of the Lord and the land of Egypt, in the direction of the Zoar. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. So it was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. So everything looks very wonderful. So look at here. It happened when they were near Bethel, and then Abram told Eve, which way you want to go? You can choose first, the left or right. And then Lord looked at this part, and then he could see that this way until Zoar, very wonderful, watered very well. It looks like the garden of the Lord, and then like the land of the Egypt. So he chose this way. So he went to that part. My question here is that I want to ask you, what do you consider? What do you consider when you decide something? What do you consider when you decide your future? Okay, future direction. Uh, when Lot decided his direction, he considered the geographical appearance. When he see the Jordan Valley side to the Zoar, it looks like the garden of the Lord in the land of the Egypt. That's why he chose this part and he went. Okay, geographically, it was perfect land. However, what was the reality? In chapter 14 tell that there was a war between kings, 4 kings and 5 kings. And then in the Siddim Valley, there was a war. So we can say that land looked fertile, but indeed was full of evil and conflicts. And then can you be peaceful and stable if there is war against your nation? Okay, wherever you are, you cannot be peaceful. So what was the reality when we're thinking about that? It was definitely life-threatening danger. Worst situation. So king of Sodom and Gomorrah in the bitumen pit, and the Lord in Sodom was captured. Later, he was rescued by Abram. Anyway, he just considered the appearance, geographical appearance, rather than ask God, Lord, where do you want me go? Rather than asking that, he depend on his eyes. And it turns out life-threatening danger. So looking perfect, but not imperfect, but imperfect. After the conflict between Abram's men and Lot's, Lot chose the looking perfect land and moved there. However, the reality was different from his perception. He thought it was good. However, he seemed to enter the life-threatening land. Thus, we should pray to God before making our decision and obey his instruction. I just imagine if the Lord asked God, Lord, where I go, I trust that God would answer him. However, in the case of Lord, didn't do that. He just looked and he looked perfect. That's why he went there, but he was in danger because of his choice. So everybody, we are imperfect. That's why we have to pray. So about what to do, when to do, how to do, everything. We have to trust God because He knows everything. He knows what He's doing. So we should consider God's instruction when we decide something because we are imperfect, but God is perfect. Not just what, when, how. Second part is covenant between God and Abram. When Abram separated from Lot, God came to Abram and talked like this. The Lord said to Abram, after Lot had separated from him, lift up your eyes and look from the place where you are, northward, southward, eastward, westward. For all the land that you see, I will give to you and to your offspring forever. So I will make your offspring as the dust of the earth, so that if one can count the dust of the earth, your offspring also can be counted. Arise, walk through the length and the breadth of the land, and for I will give it to you. So here it is the moment of the covenant between God and Abraham. We have to see that God promised the land and his offspring. God is faithful to his covenant. God is faithful all the time because he can be faithful. He can be faithful because he has the power to control all circumstances and our choices. Whatever our choices are, whatever we choose, he can control all the circumstances to accomplish his covenant. He lead us to the right way. So we can say God is faithful all the time to his covenant. So God promised Abraham a big nation and blessing. So God initiated his covenant in chapter 12. He promised that I will give you, go, the land I will show you, and then I will make you a great nation. He make a covenant in Genesis 12 and a formation of his covenant because after a few periods later, God said that I will give this land. He affirmed again. So to make it possible to make Abraham take the land and to make his nation big, he lead Abraham to the safer place, making him strong. So we can see in chapter 14, 13 to 24, we can see how strong Abraham was because he could rescue his cousin Lot. So we have to remember, faithful God, yes, faithful God to his covenant. However, here we have to remember, God is faithful to his covenant. It means he keeps his promise if we obey his condition. In the case of the Abraham, God commanded him, left his comfort zone as God commanded. So he left his homeland. He obeyed God's condition. So God continued to tell Abraham that I will keep my promise. This is my promise. So here, faithful God to his covenant, if we obey his condition. What is God's condition give to you? We have to obey that. So let's do. Remember, God is perfect, though we are imperfect. So trust that God is always faithful. That's why ask him your way. If God answers to you, obey his instruction. So faithing forward. If you don't know where to go, what to do, when to do, how to do, pray to God and depend on him. And do your best to obey his instruction if he tells you, like Abraham. Thank you.